Wild. So your dad was one of the votes for Biden, one of the 81 million votes in 2020.
Yeah, definitely. He voted for Biden still. And and the thing is, like, he's known I've always been Republican because my mom passed in '09. I followed after her, and I've always stayed on him about it. I even went to January 6th when that thing happened. I was just out there to watch the Trump speech. And I remember talking to my dad about it, and he was like, "Oh, I'm surprised you went all the way out there. I mean, I voted for Biden. He most likely won." I remember just like, "Oh man, this man, like this old head never gonna see the light."
Yeah. So it's just very refreshing to see what happened in the past.
It feels
4 years.
impossible. Yeah, it feels impossible.
You know, now that you're speaking about Biden, I mean, listen, I've been on your program countless times, and I said the 2020 election was stolen. Now we have evidence that anyone with common sense, including Democrats, can look at it and be like, yo, what's going on? So we had, let's look at 2012. Democrats had about 61 million, 2016 around the same. All of a sudden in 2020, they have 81 million votes. And now that Harris was running, it's back to Obama-Clinton levels. Where did those 15 million votes go? I mean, did Thanos snap his fingers and they disappeared? I mean, this is a clear sign of election fraud. And let me tell you something. You think this is all forgotten? My presence going to be to see you guys. You stole the election, but guess what? It's a blessing in disguise because Trump would have been out in 2 months. Mm-hmm. We don't know what would have happened, but now we know retribution is coming. You people who stole the election, put him through court cases, lied about this man, you're going to get yours. You really are. And by the way, to the January 6ers, now that we can prove this election was stolen, you are freaking patriots and you should be giving medals. Every single person who was arrested for January 6th is a patriot and you deserve medals.
Wow. Some of them are still in prison, which is crazy.
Not for long.
You know, it's been 4 years.
Not for long. Not for long. As soon as Trump gets some political wins, he's going to sign an executive order. They're all out.
You think so?
At least the ones who are nonviolent. Obviously, if you swung on a police officer, that's a whole different story and stuff like that. If you did something on a violent, but if you were just there protesting with the flag, oh no, you entered the Capitol. Isn't that the people's house anyway?
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Looks like Trump's going to win all his legal cases too now.
Yeah, it does. But I see they're trying to do some extensions to 2029.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But I think as a president, he could find a way. Well, I think he could get the DOJ put some pressure to completely eradicate all those charges.
Yeah, it's wild that they picked that year, 2029. I wonder why.
That's in the year he leaves office, obviously. Listen, one thing that President Trump did, I believe he said this, I could be wrong, but I believe he said he's going to pardon Hunter Biden. He did say something like that,
Yeah, he
right?
said it's not off the table.
It's not off the table. Listen, as the president and as, honestly, as an American citizen, I don't want to see an American president go to jail. I don't care. I know Biden's a criminal. I know he's running a crime syndicate. I know Ukraine's a money laundering operation. But just to have an American president sitting behind bars, someone who used to have the nuclear codes, I think that would be a travesty. And I wouldn't want to see that president set. I wouldn't want, him to put Biden in jail then when he's out. Someone might be looking at him. I believe to a certain extent the presidents are above the law, at least when they're in that position of power, and they should not be prosecuted. Obviously, if they're throwing nuclear bombs at people, which has never happened, that's a whole different situation. But at the end of the day, I don't want to see American presidents go to power from Obama, from Clinton, to any other president, because that would make us look like a banana republic. And quite frankly, I love this country. And I've never been more proud to be an American than when Trump won in a landslide. Because remember, all the polls said, oh, this is a dead heat. This is a dead heat. I'm looking around. I'm like, this ain't no dead heat. I told you many times it's going to be a landslide.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened. So we can't trust the news. They told us in 2016 there's no chance for Trump to win. They told us in 2020 Trump was lying, Biden won. And this year they said, yo, Camilla's going to win. But you know what the sickest part about this is? No one voted for Camilla to run for president. She was selected. No one voted for her. The Democratic Party didn't like her. In 2020, she got 9% of the vote when she was running. No one likes this woman. And even after this shellacking she took, there's still people in the Democratic Party putting pressure on Biden to resign so she can become the first woman president a month before Trump becomes president. Do you understand these women have no accountability? They don't care. They just lost. The American people do not want you, and they still want to shove her down our throats. This tells you everything you need to know about the Democratic Party. They're not for America. As a matter of fact, they're the anti-American party.
It's not what it used to be, for sure.
I would have been a Democrat, under John F. Kennedy.
Yeah. Back
Straight
in
up.
the day.
I would have been a Democrat under John F. Kennedy. Under this, no.
Things shifted. Yeah, they used to be the hippies. They used to be the ones above against, law enforcement and higher government and things like that. They completely changed their positions. Now they're demanding government enforcement, propaganda, etc. It's really weird how Democrats have become.
What leadership do you think that change happened in?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe after JFK.
After JFK?
LBJ.
Yeah, after JFK.
100%. After John F. Kennedy signed Executive Order 11110 to strip the Federal Reserve of the power to print money, he was shot 6 months later. LBJ came in there, and I think that's when everything started shifting, right around that time. So probably late 60s.
Yeah.
That's when the shadow government took over, you think? The Illuminati, some people call them.
I mean, listen, the president isn't all powerful. I mean, a judge could overturn a presidential decision. So we don't have a system like France where the president's all powerful. I mean, yes, he's the most powerful person in the free world, but he doesn't have the power of a Chinese president. Chinese president wants you in jail, you're in jail. Donald Trump wants you in jail. He's going to try to do something, but it's not necessarily going to happen. We have checks and balances here that no other regime in the world has. And, a lot of times you could say that's a good thing. One thing I would like to bring up right now that is possible in about 4 years. Barack Obama has 2 terms. Donald Trump has 2 terms. There's a chance they could have repealed the amendment to have someone run for a 3rd term, and the Democrats could go for it because they will want their boy Barack Obama to run. So I could see this whole charade of Trump versus Obama into 2028.
Do you really think they'll make that shift? You could see it being.
I think it's possible. I think that is it likely? No. But, it is a realm of possibilities because I could see the Democrats going for it because they're like, listen, we get Obama back. And Obama's a relatively young man. He's born 1961. He can still do this stuff.
And they only said that because of one president, right?
Yes.
4-term president?
Yep, FDR.
4 terms,
FDR.
I think. Yeah. He's fucked it up for everyone.
Listen, he's born in the year of the snake, FDR. And snakes have a tendency of dying in positions of power.
Wow.
For instance, we have FDR, then we have Chairman Mao in China. He ruled China with the iron fist until he died. You have President Xi right now in China. He's a snake. He rules with the iron fist. Another guy who died in office was John F. Kennedy. He was a snake. So when snakes come in office, they usually die in a position, whether it's old age or like JFK.
So they're stubborn. Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode.